Welcome to the Nurses Beyond Borders podcast, where we shine a light on the incredible journey of internationally educated nursing academics shaping the future of nursing in the United Kingdom. I'm your host, Joshi. Today, I'm excited to have a truly inspiring guest with us, Gandhi, a nurse whose incredible journey spans across continents, cultures, and critical care settings. Hailing from Noswid, a small town in Andhra Pradesh in India, Gandhi has built an extraordinary career practicing nursing globally in India, Trinidad, Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, and the United Kingdom. With 19 years of experience as an emergency nurse, he has worked in some of the most high-pressure environments, including air ambulance services to hurricane relief missions in Cayman Islands. From saving lives mid-air to responding to natural disasters, his career is nothing short of remarkable. But Gandhi's passion for nursing doesn't stop at the bedside. His academic journey has been just impressive, earning multiple qualifications in clinical education, healthcare ethics, and teaching. Yet, despite his academic achievements, Gandhi remains deeply passionate about bedside nursing care, saying, quote unquote, "I just love to be a nurse more than an academic." Welcome, Gandhi. It's just a pleasure to have you on my podcast today.
Thank you, Joshi. That was a beautiful intro. I really appreciate for that lovely words.
Thanks, Gandhi. So from a small town in the south of India to the United Kingdom and across all continents, it's not a simple journey at all. So what inspired you to pursue nursing as a career, Gandhi?
Very good question. So I think the way I grew up in a bit of a society from the very childhood, in a boarding school, from a Adventist background, we were raised pretty much to become nurses. I was never meant to become a nurse. My passion was to do was a teacher, a basic university teacher. Okay. So the route was to go and do BSc biochemistry and then become a teacher, and that was pretty much the dream of my grandfather, and he enrolled me into a degree college. But my sister is a registered nurse, so she graduated, and the same year I was about to go into degree college. And then she said, let's just take him, nursing will be really good. So I'd never had a choice. But after becoming a student nurse, and then becoming a registered nurse, as I said, you just don't choose to become a nurse. It is born within you. The simple facts like of having caring, compassion, these two qualities can basically tell that you are born to become a nurse. So I've grown to become a nurse in this experience, and that's the reason I always say I just love to be a nurse more than an academic, and that's what my teaching principles are also based, because when I'm teaching, I'm raising a future nurse. That's where I look into. So it is that simple passion that I have to care and provide that comfort for the sick and needy is what made me to become and hang on to nursing. And I love it, and I love every bit of being a registered nurse.
Fantastic. I would say your grandfather's dream has become true as well, because you're still teaching in university.
Yeah, I'm very sure. Bless him. He will be really proud of him, and I'm here now as a university lecturer, which is also a dream come true for me. So yes, so registered nurse, I'm still actively practicing, and I'm teaching. So the goals have been accomplished, and there's a lot more. And I always say this in the field of nursing: sky is the limit, and fly high like an eagle. And I'm here to fly high like an eagle, to empower the field of nursing. And as a international nurse, I want to set this stage to say, like, look, you can become whoever you want to become, no matter whatever the boundaries are. There is no limit for who you have to be, and that's the way forward to be.
Fantastic, Adi. Thank you. So you work across many continents, I would say. So you educated in India. You were born in India, and then you went to Jamaica
Yeah.
to do your nursing registration,
Yeah.
and then you moved on to Cayman Islands, and now you're in UK. So how was this journey? What were the challenges and barriers, you would say?
It's a beautiful journey, and I carry the lived experience of an international student or an international nurse, because this 19 years. So I graduated in 2006 back in home in India, and my stay in India was 1 year. I mean, by 2009, I was out of India. So 2009, it was Trinidad. A beautiful. That's my first move away from India to abroad, and I was only 22 or 23 when I landed in Trinidad. A different culture, food, work ethics, everything was so different from I started where it was from India. From Trinidad, then I wanted to move to a different country and see what other experience, and then that's how I landed in Jamaica. And then Jamaican experience was, I always say that Jamaica was the land of experience for me, who gave me solid experience of providing patient-centered care. From there, East Cayman Islands is another one of the top rich country, and the standards were really high. So you're coming from different levels of work experiences, and then now you move out to UK, and now you're working in, when I started working in National Health Services, and then into university. So everything was a lived experiences of. And this is what I would like to put it. No matter which part of the world you come, when you're born to become a nurse, those qualities of being caring, compassion, it will be the same wherever you go. It's all of that effective communication that you need to survive in these new areas. So I think that's what I have learned, to understand certain cultures, to respect their cultures, to provide dignity to those home residents or the people of that country. And then you grow from colleagues speaking to you, explaining, sharing their knowledge, and you staying humble to receive. As because for me, I'm always an expat. I've been an expat for this many years. So it's all about accommodating myself and making sure I'm giving the best for the to provide a patient-centered care. So it's no matter wherever I worked, it was all about patient-centered. So and then your life is really happy. I can walk into an A&E and have a fantastic day. It's about your patient-centered. So that was what I have learned and grown up into becoming that matured adult nurse, to work in different surroundings, different people, different languages, different accents. Coming from Trinidad has a different accents. Jamaican has different accents. Caymanians have different accents. And now in UK, it's a big world of different accents. So it's all about accommodating. It's all about how do I learn about this, and what availability is there for me to grow in order to provide that patient-centered care. And I think that was my lived experience to say, and that's what I normally teach my students, especially when I encounter international students or international registered nurse. These will be our topics around and how do you modify your accents and how do you do your effective communications. So it's more of that. So I enjoy it, and I don't mind working in another country as well.
Yeah, so you're used to that, isn't it? Living in different places and then learning about their culture. So was there a big barrier or a challenge, or how was your first day of working in the NHS?
Barriers. So I would take back to my first barrier. Will be going back to to Trinidad, because by the time I came into UK, I had a lived experience of how many years? Is it 15 years
Yeah.
or 14 years? So I have lived there. But my very first barrier moving to Trinidad was to understand how to speak in a Trini accent, and the expectations of the patients. So it was really hard because I'm coming from Indian background and speaking in Indian English. It was really hard for patients to understand me, and on I receiving that information was really hard. So that was the biggest barrier. Culture was different, the food was different. Although it is Trinidad is a bit of, you have a huge population of Indian origins, but their food was also a bit different compared to a South Indian from a Andhra Pradesh. Our food is different. So barriers, especially at work, was understanding patients, in regarding to the communications was one of the biggest barrier. And by the time I came into NHS, I could actually learn, bring back what my previous experience was, and then I can pretty much implement here. And so it was the same barrier in Jamaica, and it was the same barrier in Cayman Islands. So it was about the communication. So and I only grew to learn and understand different accents and different people from different various backgrounds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So I think now you become more familiar with the Manchester accent as well, the Mancunian accent.
The Mancunian, yeah, of course, that's true. It's still learning though. It's still a learning process. Yeah.
Good. So what motivated you to transition from the clinical practice to academia?
Oh, fantastic. I love this question. I know my name is Gandhi, and Gandhi is a freedom fighter. So deep within me, there is always, I've always wanted change. I'm a guy who look change. I think that could be the very reason I lived in different countries, because I feel like, okay, I've lived in Trinidad, I want to move to a different country and work. So change is something I always want to do, but it's, as a nurse, you reflect a lot. Yeah. So when I do a shift, I learn what happened, and I want to get better, so you reflect, and then you go back next day so that you don't do the same errors, or you want to improve more. So reflection is a big part of my life. When I was working as a clinical practice educator, where I understood what the NHS system, because remember I'm coming from Cayman Islands, which was a private sector, and now I'm into a national health services. So the main thinking process or the reflection was, so looking into myself, what more I can do and what best can come out of me, was that teaching element. Right from my India, I was a teacher working as a nurse in charge in ICU. I used to do a lot of teachings as well for my students. So I always have that feedback from my students back at home saying that, oh, you're a good teacher, you really teach skills really good, and you're really cool, you don't stress a lot. So there was always that principle that was always there. And so while I did my postgraduate at Edge Hill University in teaching and learning in clinical practice, I learned a lot in that teaching and accommodating students and regional adjustment plans, a difficult student. So I brought that principle, and so yes, NHS, we all know the truth. I still don't know. Sometimes you have to care for patients on corridor. So there is a lot of so much different thing what happens in NHS, and then when you be a clinical practice educator, trying to give the best evidence-based practice. While reflection, I went for an interview, and after the interview, one of the interviewer gave me a feedback, and he said, so this was for a CQC job. So the person, this is what the feedback was: when you're speaking, we just like to listen to you. did you ever consider becoming a lecturer and you will be really good in teaching? Because while I was working in clinical practice as clinical practice educator, I used to use all the tools for feedback and feedbacks. I used to incorporate how do I need to grow. So they always used to have a very positive feedback. So based on that feedback, and one of the person who gave me, actually, why don't you consider becoming a academic? Because the question was change management, and from her feedback after listening to me, you may not do this change here, but you can incorporate your ideas into the future generation of registered nurses, because university is a place where we can start nurturing our future generation of nurses to incorporate a new change, and that's what is really needed. So that's where my idea has started, and I came in for an interview, and I must say that Mel and Vicky on my first day was amazing, who received me really well, and with that influence as well, I had high confidence that I want to get this job, and that's how I came into university as a lecturer, and I'm being very simple. Change is what is needed with what is currently happening in NHS.
That's fantastic. So, being an internationally educated nurse, what do you bring to the students here, for the future nurses here? You know, how you in terms of your experience or your culture, and what role do you think you play in decolonization of nursing curriculum?
It's a very interesting topic when you really say about decolonization of curriculum. I'm still learning. I'm very young at it. I think the reason why I say this about decolonization of curriculum, and I'm very new, and I'm kind of can't find my feet about it. I have a lived experience living in abroad, just not one country.
Exactly.
It's 5, 6. I mean, Trinidad, Jamaica, Cayman Islands, and UK. So there's a lot more to discuss when we talk about decolonization of curriculum. I look forward than that. I look more, if I have to talk in a point of a international students, because and how their migration and transitions are, is to make them well prepared during the transition process, is what my stand will be, if that was the question basically, right? So where do I stand is to prepare these international registered nurses, where with your evidence, where you have said there was a huge inflow of recruitments. Now we could see a huge inflow of recruitment of new students coming into universities. So what we need to prepare from a university point, how could we make this transition very smooth for them to adjust in this home conditions and to grow, because this might be their future country to live. So that's where I stand at. So that's where my discussions will be with an international student. As a lecturer, you should scan around and see which student is engaging, who is not, who are your international students, who is not your home students. So that's where I try to grow the next future generation of our lecturers or our future registered nurses, because it's the same international nurse and the international student has to work together.
Yeah.
And there is this gap of actually what we need to support them to actually grow, to provide that holistic patient-centered. So there are so many barriers: effective communication, pronunciations, vocabularies. So these are always the gaps that we need to understand and incorporate that.
Yeah.
I had that issues in different parts of the world that I was working. So knowing this fact, I don't know where to stand about decolonization of the curriculum.
Yeah.
Because for me, no matter where you come from, you still need to provide patient-centered care, and it's in a holistic care. So I'm still learning about that decolonization of that curriculum, of what exactly the definitions are, what do we need to define about it, and what it is. So I'm very innocent in that, but I have my own points and view from a freedom of speech to see where my stands are. But as I once again expressed, was to show this international nurses and the international student nurses a ground for them to feel confident enough to express and to speak, because we have so many accents. And so many ways to pronounce. So, and the common thing is you always see, can I have a nurse who speaks English? So I feel like we're going too far to talk about decolonization of curriculum, but in the nursing, which is a hands-on lived caring for patients, that's where very vital, and that's where we need to head to find out what modifications we need, what strategies we need to enhance their lived experience a lot more than compared to mine. Yeah, so I always do it in my way, where I always want to empower them to say, this is your new world, this is where your new beginning is, and now this is the time for you to grow.
Yeah, exactly. And even the education system in itself is different for them, isn't it? From across different continents and countries.
Absolutely.
Yes,
you come from Tamil Nadu, and I come from Andhra.
Exactly.
We have purely two different education systems where we come from. I come from a boarding school with English predominantly being my teaching methodology, compared to my friends who goes to a Telugu medium. So it's a lot more of that modifications that I need to. So if you ask me about this decolonization in this point, I can't figure out, or look, as I said, I'm a typical nurse.
Yeah.
It's all about
But you bring
nurse.
in your experiences, and you being an international student as well, so you bring in all those experience. So what advice would you give to future nurses or to your younger self, Gandhi?
Yeah, see, the 6 C's will never change.
Yeah.
To any future nurse, to any nurses, sickness is not going to go away from here, and we need nurses to take care of the sick. This is, to me, is a black point. If we really look into the current state of A&E departments across NHS, we have high amounts of corridor patients. How do you provide a care for patients on a corridor? That's where my biggest question comes from. In a grand scheme of things, what is happening, and with the inflow of the international students and international nurses with recruitment and all, and to all the future nurses, is you should never be forced or never be influenced by the pressures from your leaderships, especially in NHS settings. A patient-centered care and a holistic care and a simple nurse values, ethics should always remain the heart of nursing. That should never change, and you have to advocate for your patients. So no matter where you come from, whichever boundaries, whichever part of the world, when you're caring for your patient, you have to advocate and provide that dignity for your patient, no matter which color, which race or ethnic background. It's all about patient-centered, and that's what I strongly believe. No matter where you work, what people say about your color or not, it's about, I'm here to provide that patient-centered care, and that gives me that adrenaline rush when you're leaving. And one of the good example I will always say is, you're about to leave a shift, and then just you have a dementia patient who is on the corridor, you're leaving, and then just holds your hand and say, thank you for providing me the care. And that makes your day. And that's what the future nurses have to look out for, to provide that patient-centered care for the sick. And the sickness is not going to go anywhere. And we only need to develop nurses who have passion for caring. At the end of the day, provide that evidence-based practice. And I say, it's not about that nursing. Nursing is a field where you can fly high like an eagle into every department to grow your practice and your knowledge and understanding. Yeah.
Thank you, Gandhi. So I'll just ask you a quick rapid fire question.
All right.
Just to make it on a simple note, and thanks for your insightful suggestions for future nurses. So is it a coffee or tea before a lecture session?
Coffee always.
Good. Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Oh, it's really good one. So I'm an early bird, and I used to be a night owl too. So if you say now, I'm more of an early bird.
Yeah, I think as nurses we are kind of made up to do early shifts and also night shifts. So yeah, we are both. So if you could teach anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Oh, I love to teach. I never thought. It's a really good question. Okay, let me put it. Where's my favorite country? Yeah, Jamaica.
Oh, good. From where you started, learned, yeah.
My that's my hardcore experience of caring for patients, and there's loads of learning that I've done. Yeah.
Thanks. So, what's your go-to stress reliever after a long day?
Oh, I hit the gym right away.
Wow, great. So, if you weren't a nurse or an academic in nursing, what would you be doing now?
I always want to be a crime investigating officer.
Okay.
Yeah, forensic sciences. I have also applied for forensic nurse as a back at home. Yeah, crime investigation officer.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. And one last question. So, one thing you love about teaching nursing and one thing you would like to change?
Oh, so I love teaching. One of my favorite subjects is anatomy and physiology. Medical surgical, and now that I have a postgraduate in ethics, I love to teach ethics as well. So if I have to change, I think I only want to understand more about, but I don't know if I can change or not, but to change how we assess students in universities, especially for nursing, from a nursing field of, we need to change the way we assess students. It's not about essay writings. It's more of clinical skills. We are heavily skills oriented.
Yeah.
So I think I want to change that. And say like, hey, this is nursing. We want more nursing care plans. We want more nursing skills students to perform. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for a more detailed and insightful conversation, Gandhi. And you are inspiring future nurses. Good luck for your career. I hope we'll meet up again once career journeys, and we'll do a second series of this podcast from where we left. So thank you, Gandhi, for joining in. Is there any one last word you would want to share with us?
Thank you so much, Joshi. You're a fantastic host, and I wish you all the best.
Thanks.
Fly high, man. This is looking amazing.
Thank you.
Go ahead, and you have all my best wishes for you.
Thanks, Gandhi. Thank you.
Happy International Nurses Day.
Thank you. Yeah, there we go.